All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Shelbyville weather, and we are live due to a severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued for eastern Bedford and all of Coffee County. I'm going to wait just a second before we get started here because the storms are still um, a couple minutes away from the northern portions of our two counties. They're coming through Woodbury and Murfreesboro right now. So we're going to wait just a minute before we get started here, but I thought I'd go ahead and start the stream up. Hello, hello. Okay. Maybe we have sound now, finally. Thankfully, the storms haven't made it in yet, but it looks like I've got sound now on my OBS software. So if someone could give me some thumbs up and just let me know that you're hearing me okay, that would be awesome. I'm sorry I didn't see the the no sound stuff earlier, but yeah. So let me go ahead and give the big spiel again. I was apparently just talking to myself a minute ago, but we have this severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for eastern Bedford County and all of Coffee County. This is for the complex of storms that is moving through Murfreesboro and Woodbury down to McMinnville, right along the US 70S corridor. And these storms are coming almost due south, but a little bit further east of due south. So right now, the very edge of the storms are following right beside the US 231 corridor. So it could end up that a good portion of Bedford County gets missed by the heaviest precipitation, but still could see some pretty gusty winds here over the next couple of minutes as this storm moves southward. The biggest threat today is going to be damaging wind gusts, although there might be a little bit of hail in some of the stronger cores too. And then, of course, there is a threat of a spin-up tornado, although we haven't had any issues so far today with this complex. So hopefully that continues to be the case. Another thing that might be limiting our overall tornado threat is the fact that we have this rain-cooled air that it seems to be rushing out ahead of the storms here. You can kind of see it here on the radar, this little thin green line that's coming out in front of the storms. That's the cooler air that the thunderstorms have produced, and it's pushing out ahead of the rain. So sometimes that works to actually choke off the storm. So that might end up limiting our tornado potential here today, but that's not the main threat regardless. We're mostly looking at the threat for 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So let me get up the chat room here, make sure everything is looking good. Yeah. So there's a lot of flooding issues going on, especially in the Upper Cumberland region. So Cookeville, Sparta, Crossville, even over towards Smithville, they're having a lot of flooding issues this afternoon. But we're getting kind of the thinner end of the stick, so hopefully the flooding issues will be a minimum here. But, you know, we had to watch out to see if anything else develops here on the western side of the severe thunderstorm warning as well. All right. So I'm going to put on the velocity products here, and the way that the storm is moving almost due south, we're not getting a great look off the Nashville radar site for wind gusts. So I'm actually going to look at the Huntsville radar site and see what kind of wind gusts it's sampling here. This is a little bit higher up in the atmosphere, but we're getting there's some 50s and some 60s in a few areas, but over here towards Murfreesboro, not quite as much. But these storms are fairly new, the ones that have formed over Murfreesboro, so that's something else to keep in mind. But there are some 60s showing up here, especially coming down towards Coffee County. So I think the strongest part of the storm is definitely going to be in central Coffee County and down towards Manchester, Tullahoma, Hillsboro, places like that. And of course, the storm over here, not getting many good readings here off the Huntsville radar site, but it's also fairly high up in the storm, so that's something else to keep in mind as well. I'm going to check the terminal radar site here from the Nashville airport to see if it's showing anything. I'm not even getting getting anything to show up. So, but we do have a storm tracker we can look at here and see when these storms will be reaching a few locations across the area. So again, where this red line is really where the worst of the storm is going to go. So like I was saying, over here in more towards central Bedford County, might miss out on this altogether. Even though you're in the severe thunderstorm warning, you'll miss out on the main precipitation and the heaviest winds. But a few of the locations that could get in on the worst of the winds here. So again, 60 mile per hour wind gusts are the main threat. So we have Lakewood Park at 4:30, Wartrace at 4:45, Manchester also at 4:45, Tullahoma at 5 o'clock, and Estill Springs at 5:09. So those are a few communities, and then you have places like Normandy about 4:50, 4:55, and then Hillsborough down here in southeastern Coffee County, you're looking at around the same time as Normandy, somewhere between 4:50 and 4:55. So really looking for this line to start to impact northern Coffee County within the next 5 to 10 minutes here as it moves into Lakewood Park and along the State Highway 280 corridor. Bell Buckle, let me put that back up. So Bell Buckle's right on the edge here. So if we can get some more development off to the west, you'll probably get a good rain out of this. But as it looks right now, it's going to be cutting it pretty close here. But Bell Buckle, somewhere around 4:40 or so, is when the worst of the winds and maybe some heavy rainfall will reach you. Yes. So the severe thunderstorm warning does include Beech Grove. It includes everyone in Coffee County. So if you live in Coffee County, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Bedford County, pretty much anyone along and east of 231. So Bell Buckle, Wartrace, Shelbyville, Normandy, Flat Creek, Ross, places like that are included in the warning in Bedford County. So you just want to make sure that you are indoors and away from windows as this storm comes through. Lots of lightning going on with this cell, especially the portions that is going to impact Coffee County. There's going to be a lot of lightning strikes, so you don't want to be outside. And, you know, when you're talking about 60 mile per hour wind gusts as well, that's definitely another reason you don't want to be outside. So that's just something to keep in mind as this storm comes south. Winchester, you are not included in a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but I could definitely see one being issued if this storm continues on its pace, probably in an hour or so in Winchester. The tornado threat is very, very low today. And like I was saying earlier, the storms are kind of gusting outward. So I'm not too concerned about the threat for tornadoes. This is pretty much just a straight line to wind threat here. Unionville and Rover are in the clear from this complex. It's going to go a little bit off to the east of y'all. So there's Unionville and Rover right up here in northwestern Bedford County. So y'all are going to be okay from this severe thunderstorm. And you can see how many lightning strikes. This is just probably in the past 15 to 20 minutes. We've had 263 lightning strikes with this storm. So this is a very, very electrical storm and just shows how strong it is, and how it could be producing those stronger wind gusts. I'm trying to see if I can start the live sweep here, but that's probably only with level 2 stuff. Yeah. It is. All right. Yeah, I'm going to start the live scan so we can get updates from the Huntsville radar site quickly. Let's go ahead and look at the velocity data again here. Well, we're getting a new update here. Go and let that load in real quick. Well, maybe not. All right, yeah. Yeah, this will be good. This is from the National Radar site. So it's a little bit closer, but we're not getting that great of a look since the storm is coming almost due south. The Huntsville radar site is a little bit better in my opinion, but it's been having some issues today. It was down earlier for some type of issue, so we might be having another issue there with the Huntsville site. But the Nashville radar site is showing some 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts here over central Warren County, and then a little bit less as you go further to the east, or to the west, excuse me. So, like over here in Rutherford County, 10, 20 mile per hour wind gusts is what the Nashville radar is seeing. And then, like I was saying a second ago, we're getting some 50, 60 mile per hour wind gusts here over Warren County. So one thing that I will note again is I'll turn on the paintbrush tool. You can see this line of light reflectivity here that I circled in yellow. This is what we call an outflow boundary, and that occurs when rain-cooled air rushes out ahead of a storm. And usually happens with these types of Ridge Rider MCS events in Tennessee. Especially this time of year, we'll see a lot of these outflow boundaries. Now, these boundaries can sometimes spark some new storms as they push out ahead of the main parent storm, but it also works to choke off the energy from the parent storm to the north. So a lot of these storms are going to be fairly elevated, so the tornado threat is a lot lower, but the strong wind threat is still present inside the main cluster of storms that we have here. But the outflow boundary that I'm seeing rush out ahead of the storms is not a bad thing to see at all. And it might show that these storms are weakening as they move southward, which I'm just fine with. So, all right, I'm going to go back to the Huntsville radar site here and see if it's any better. Yeah, it's not liking the Huntsville site for some reason. So we'll just keep on looking at Nashville's radar here. We won't have any issues. Thank you for the stars, everybody. Hillsboro should be between, let me see. We have a storm tracker right here. Hillsboro is between 5 and 510. So this is a new update too, because it was showing a little bit earlier time just a minute ago. So the gust front here on the outflow boundary that you can see on the radar here is actually coming through northern Coffee County now. So you might see some interesting looking clouds and probably a good gust of wind before the heavy rain actually starts. And these, these could be some damaging wind gusts too. But the worst of the storms are just to the north of the actual gust front. Shelbyville will probably actually miss out on the majority of the precipitation from this storm. You're going to get a part of the outflow boundary here and maybe some gusty winds, but the worst of the storm is going to be off to the east of Shelbyville. Deerfield Elementary School, you're probably getting some gusty winds right now, probably some crazy looking cloud formations in the sky, but the worst of the rain is coming right down 53 out of Cannon County, and it'll be in the Deerfield area here in just a couple minutes. Same with Lakewood Park and Beech Grove and Summitville too. No, once this storm clears, we're going to be okay for a good while anyway. Now, I'll show this later on after we get done with this severe thunderstorm warning, but there is another cluster of storms that I'm going to be watching, and it's coming out of, I think, Illinois and Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, that area, and it's going to be shifting down to the south and east like the one did this morning here. So I'm going to keep a close eye on that. But for the time being, it does look like this is going to be the only thing that we see today. Now that could change because these Ridge Rider setups are pretty crazy, but this looks like it's going to take a lot of the energy out of the atmosphere here. Look at the progression of the storms here, and it looks like they're kind of moving in a more southeasterly direction than they were just a little bit ago. So the worst of the winds that I see here on the radar are definitely going to go almost down directly towards Chattanooga here over the next hour or so, and we're just kind of getting the very tail end of it here in our area. I mean, even from this radar image here, it almost looks like the storms are choking themselves out this far to the west, and this might be a east of I-24 event, not even a east of 231, but like Lakewood Park and Manchester, Hillsboro, and Summitville in Coffee County only, and then maybe Tullahoma, Normandy, Bell Buckle doesn't even get any rain out of this. So it's these events are so hard to predict and keep up with because these storms will do just about whatever they want to. And if you remember my post from yesterday, I was talking about that. How these are very hard to predict. It does look like that Hillsboro should get a little bit of rain out of this, but pretty much everyone in Bedford County should probably not going to see very much rain. Now, if some of these little cells that are developing up here in Rutherford County somehow get their act together, which I don't see happening, but we'll just have to wait and see with that. So It looks like the Weather Service did cancel the severe thunderstorm warning for Bedford County. So let's look and see here in just a minute what the new polygon looks like. It's going to continue for Coffee County, but it looks like Bedford County is going to be in the clear from this severe thunderstorm warning. There is a chance that the outflow boundary could form some new storms, definitely. But I mean, even if you look up here, up towards Nashville, there hasn't been very much development along the outflow boundary yet, anyway. And they have the better flow coming almost directly into the outflow boundary, so it's pretty uncommon for there not to be some development of some kind there. But we'll have to wait and see, because there are a few cells trying to get going here over Smyrna and Murfreesboro, so those might try to scoot over this way. But the severe thunderstorm warning for Bedford County has been canceled, so let me... All right, so here's the latest radar image. And as you can see, the severe thunderstorm warning has been cut back from Bedford County altogether. And now this just includes Coffee County. So Bedford County is in the clear from this severe weather threat. And like I was saying, we were going to be in a weird transition zone between the ridge of high pressure and the Ridge Rider severe weather setups. And this is about as close to on the edge as you can get, with one county getting a huge complex of storms and then the county directly to the west getting almost nothing. So this is exactly what I was talking about in my post yesterday. So let me see what the radar site in Nashville is seeing with the winds. So it's showing some 45, 50 mile per hour gusts here coming through central Warren County, and then a little bit less of a wind threat here over towards Woodbury, at least from the radar site in Nashville's perspective. But still looking at a pretty hefty storm here. So this outflow boundary is the rain-cooled air rushing out ahead of the storm, as I've been talking about. It's coming right into Manchester right now, so the wind is probably going to pick up. Might have some crazy-looking skies there for a minute, but the rainfall is not too terribly far behind. But the worst of the wind here might be right along this outflow boundary. So you want to make sure that you are at least indoors and away from windows as this outflow boundary and storm comes through. This storm will not hit anyone in Bedford County. So if you're in Bedford County, you're good to go. It honestly looks like these storms have started to fall apart here, especially with the outflow boundary rushing out ahead of the storms. It's choking off their energy here, and that's why these storms over here look a whole lot healthier than the than the ones that we're seeing over towards Woodbury and McMinnville, because they're kind of getting choked off here. We'll stay on it here. So it does look like there was a report of some damage in Murfreesboro when the outflow boundary came through. There were some trees down and branches on the road at Bridge Avenue and New Salem Highway. But that's the only report I've seen from any of the storms, this far to the west. There have been a few reports up here towards Cookeville and Sparta, but that's the only report I've seen so far from the storms that are impacting Coffee County. So not too terribly bad here. We do have the severe thunderstorm warning still in effect, but honestly, the storms look like that they're just gonna choke themselves out here. We'll go ahead and put on the radar loop here and see how these storms have been progressing. That one little cell on the southeastern side of Murfreesboro looks like it's trying to congeal into the main complex. So might have a little bit more Coffee County getting in on the heavier rain, but the severe weather threat, I think, is not that great at this point in time. With the outflow boundary here, you're getting some gustier winds and maybe a few down trees here and there, but this is not a big time event for us, in my opinion. Let me see if I can get on the Huntsville radar site now. All right, it is going to let me on. Good. See what the velocities are looking like here. There's some 50s and high 50s, maybe close to 60 in Grundy and southern Warren County. But the outflow boundary here, you can't really get a good sample of the winds. This thing just hates the Huntsville radar. I have no idea why it's being like that. It just does not like using the Huntsville radar site for some reason. But again, if you're just now joining us, we have a severe thunderstorm warning here for all of Coffee County. Right now, it looks like the complex of storms or ridge riders that we are watching dip in from Kentucky are slowly starting to break apart here. We have a outflow boundary, or the rain-cooled air that is rushed out ahead of the storms into Coffee County. You're probably getting some crazy-looking clouds here and maybe some gusty winds, probably even a little chill in the air as this outflow boundary comes through. You can see it pretty good here on the radar with this little thin green line. That's an outflow boundary. that's moving into central Manchester right now. So the heavy rainfall is still off to the north, but the gustier winds and the and crazy looking clouds probably coming through along the outflow boundary. It's right along the I-24 corridor from Hillsborough up to Manchester up to Noah. The wind just picked up in Manchester. I live along mile marker 109. Thank you, Allison. So there are some gustier winds. It's good to have some confirmation here that there are some gustier winds here along this outflow boundary that's moving through Manchester and central Coffee County. But I don't know if they're severe, but you could still get some minor damage here and there from those winds. Super windy in New Union area. Thank you, Mindy. Let me see. I could pull up the TDOT camera. See what. Yeah, you can't really see anything with the TDOT cameras. So right now it does look like that Tullahoma is going to miss out on the worst of the rain. Now you are still going to have this outflow boundary come through. It's riding kind of right along Highway 55 into Tullahoma. So you're still going to get some gustier winds here over the next couple minutes. But I don't know if there's going to be very much heavy rainfall for Tullahoma out of this storm. And you can see the outflow boundary still very, very well on the radar, even as these storms get further away from Nashville. You can see the outflow boundary pretty good here on the radar site. So these storms are definitely weakening on this side of the line. But like I was saying, there was a lot of stronger storms further to the east. So it looks like that for the most part, Tullahoma is probably going to miss out on the heavier rainfall unless there's something that tries to develop over here. But let's look and see. This is the other area of stormage that we're watching. You can see the yellow boxes here with severe thunderstorm warnings. This is in southern Illinois. And these storms are going to try to push off to the south and east too. Let me see if I can get it pulled up here on my weather model, and then we'll see what it shows. I'm going to log in real quick so that I can see it better. All right. So this is what the weather model was saying for the rest of the night, and it actually has some additional stormage forming. I'm going to go ahead and move this over here so that we can take a look at it. So This is at 3 p.m., so this is already passed. And this is a complex that we were first talking about here with the severe thunderstorm warning. And believe it or not, it actually had those storms missing um, Coffee County altogether. So, I mean, this is um, a pretty good view of what it looks like. This will be at this is almost right now, and it's a little off, but that's expected. 6 p.m. The main complex of storms moving through Chattanooga and pushing down into Georgia and North Carolina. But here are the storms that are forming off to our northwest in southern Illinois that I was just showing you a minute ago. And those try to scoot on down this way. And as we head deeper into the night, this particular weather model is thinking that we could have some more storms move through after sunset. So that'll be something to keep in mind for later. This is not a guarantee that it's going to happen by any means. A lot of times these weather models will flip flop back and forth in these kinds of setups. Um, like yesterday morning, this weather model did not even have the storms that we had yesterday forming at all. But then by 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, it had finally picked up on it. So um, these weather models are definitely not the gospel and shouldn't be taken that way. This is just something that we use to improve our forecasting and help us make decisions. So there is a chance that we could have some more scattered storms develop later this afternoon, but for the most part, I believe that we'll be okay. But we will have to watch for at least the potential of a few storms to develop after sunset tonight. And these could be, strong to severe as well. But we'll just have to wait and see. Yes, my thank you, Heather. I like the sound of my keyboard too. That's funny. Yeah. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. And here's the latest radar update. So, not much going on. The outflow boundary is almost into Normandy and Bell Buckle, War Trace, Tullahoma, right along the 269 corridor, and just getting some gustier winds and not much else. Not much else going on. Yes, the severe thunderstorm watch is still in effect until 8 p.m. But for the time being, I do not see any. I see us getting cleared out of this severe thunderstorm watch before then. They've already canceled a lot of the counties to our north, so they're definitely not going to keep this one going through 8 p.m. Well, hmm. There was a new severe thunderstorm watch, but I'm not sure if that. I think it's for this area down here. It shouldn't include Bedford. Um, I was waiting to see what the severe thunderstorm watch looked like. But it's not popping up for me. I guess we'll see here in a second. But again, the severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect for the majority of Coffee County for the outflow boundary that is pushed out ahead of the storms with some gustier winds and some crazy looking clouds potentially too. But the worst of the rain and the wind should almost totally bypass Coffee County at this point. But still could get some heavier showers, especially up towards Summitville and Asbury. But just didn't pan out the way that I was expecting it to. It almost looked like up here when it was coming along the 40 corridor, it almost looked like it was moving due south, and then all of a sudden it had a weird kick to the east, and it just kind of pushed away from our area. So I'm definitely not complaining. That's a good thing. But the green line sweeping over the map is a live radar scan. So this is just showing what the radar is scanning up in the sky as it comes around, and it'll update every couple minutes. So I don't know if you can see this up here, but it actually has the percent of how much is complete for the radar scan, and it does different angles in the atmosphere. So it'll start out at a low angle, swoop around, go a little bit higher, swoop around, go up a little bit higher, swoop around, and then the highest one swoop around, and then it'll update the whole map. So I feel like that's just easier than it just updating automatically. We can get the data in a little bit quicker this way. So if anyone does end up having some wind damage or something, you can send it to me on Messenger, and I'll get that passed along. But I believe that the severe weather threat is winding down fairly quickly here, and we will have to watch the storms in southern Illinois as they start to push off this way. And I'll be keeping an eye on those and putting out radar updates and stuff. So one interesting thing here that has just come out from the Weather Service, I'll go ahead and share this with y'all. So there was a EF0 tornado confirmed in Murfreesboro yesterday with the maximum winds of 75 miles an hour and a path length of 3.38 miles and a width of 100 yards. South of the tornado track from I-24 to downtown Murfreesboro, downburst winds up to 80 miles per hour caused more significant damage than the tornado did. And this is a real interesting statistic. This is the first tornado to occur in the month of July in Rutherford County on record. Official tornado records go back to 1950, and unofficial records extend back into the 1800s. So, um, tornadoes in July are definitely rare in Middle Tennessee. So, the tornado in Murfreesboro yesterday has been confirmed as an EF0 with 75 mile per hour winds. That's the one that went through MTSU, and it's the first July tornado in on record in Rutherford County. Wartrace will be getting some gustier winds here with this outflow boundary, but they're not going to get any rain from this. I am going to be watching storms that are coming out of southern Illinois over the next few hours, but for right now, I think the severe weather threat is almost completely done for our two counties. Yeah, that new severe thunderstorm watch that I got a notification for is actually for northern Georgia. So the worst of the complex looks to be from right at the Tennessee North Carolina state line, and it extends over to Dunlap in Sequatchie County. Or no, that's not Sequatchie County. I'm not sure what county that is there. Maybe someone could help me out with that. But I'm thinking that the worst of the storms will miss us. Yes, Hillsboro is in the clear. I think everyone in Coffee County is in the clear from this severe weather complex. There's just some heavier rain and stuff in Warren County, but nothing severe. Just the outflow boundary here creating some gusty winds coming into Tullahoma, Normandy, Wartrace right now. And it'll continue to scoot off to the south and east, or south and west, excuse me. But not really much to come from that, minus some gusty winds. So. Yes, Taylor. There are some more storms coming, as I was just talking about, up here in Illinois, southern Illinois. We're going to be watching these storms as they try to scoot off to the south and east towards us. I'm not 100% certain that these storms will make it here, or if they'll go off towards the east like this complex did today. Or this afternoon, but I'll keep an eye on them here. And the timing looks to be somewhere between 8 o'clock and midnight for these storms if they do make it here, and I'll have radar updates if needed. New Union will get a little bit of light rain, but the heavy rain is going to miss both counties to the east. So, Bedford's not going to get any good rain out of this, and then Coffee County's not either, really. Grundy County, there is some heavier rain between Altamont and Tracy City, but not really much other than that, and maybe some gustier winds too, but nothing too crazy. All right, so the severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire. So there's no longer a severe weather threat for our area. I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. I'll leave the radar loop running for just a little bit longer here. Um, so our attention is now going to be turning to the storms up by St. Louis and in the southern Illinois and Missouri area as they try to head off this way. So I'll have radar updates as those storms get closer. But until then, we're going to be signing off for now. The severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect until 8 o'clock should also be canceled here in just a little bit too. So at least a few hours, we won't have to worry about storms, and then we'll regroup and come back and see what's happening here after a while. So thank you guys for tuning in to the severe weather coverage today. And hope you have a blessed rest of your evening. Hopefully, we won't have to come back on, but we'll keep you updated. Thank you, guys. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut the live stream off here. So, again, the severe thunderstorm warning for Coffee County has been canceled, and there's no threat of severe weather at this time. We are going to be watching storms that are forming in the St. Louis area and southern Illinois as they try to scoot down this way. But again, that's uncertain, so I'll be sure to keep you updated on Facebook and Twitter over the next few hours here as those storms try to push on in from the north and northwest. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and y'all have a great rest of your evening.